Many years later, the juvenile stegosaurs of the desert would survive on as their island's environment changed. Plants began to grow as the water would weaken to the unfertile plants. No, sorry. And very soon, trees began to grow on the island more. The Stegosaurus may not have had enough room to survive, but they certainly had what they needed. Meanwhile, their parents were trapped in a miserable cave just to die. They were trapped. Oh, yes. Let me find out how to see. How do I see? Give me a moment, guys. Darn it, that just ruined my entire dramatic entrance. Meanwhile, the other Stegosaur went off to drown, or thirst, or die of hunger, in a chasm they had called home, in a place they called home. And very soon they might have as well have been considered extinct, as the climate of the desert would begin to change. You see, this will be mimicking some stages of ecosystems in the modern day. Like nowadays, the Sahara Desert, every 10,000 years, will go through a green journey, where the Sahara Desert is the Sahara forest, I guess. And slowly the desert will be transitioning into this, as the climates across the world will slowly get a little bit colder. Trees begin to sprout out across the desert. The desert soon looks less of a wasteland, more of an oasis. The place flowers with new life. As a new species, without the Stegosaurus there to stop them from growing, would continue on the legacy that the Stegosaurus once had. As plant life would sprout out across the ecosystem, this would invite more creatures and more dinosaurs to actually thrive in the desert. But this would soon mean more competition for the Ankylosaurus. Meanwhile, over in the jungle, with climates getting a little bit colder, we will see snowfall that hasn't happened in years over in well, the jungle. And snow covers, and I mean completely covers, the land. As the world begins to sink into an ice age, the jungle was no longer safe for anything. The remaining plant life that survived was scarce. Only small shrubs in the snow. To remain untouched by dinosaurs or creatures for many years. As the dinosaurs no longer had very much food. None at all. They had to survive off of what was left by uncovering what was down in the frozen snow before what they had dug up would fade. And soon, the only way they could survive was by migrating. But it doesn't seem the dinosaurs just would. as plant life began to sprout out in some other areas, but it wasn't where all the dinosaurs were. Yes, they did have low amounts of plant life, as they would soon run over and fight about most food. But with their newfound friends of the Dilophosaurus, they just might not survive. Very soon, something horrible would happen. Something is going on inside the layers of molten rock. After the earthquake, after the tsunami, after the natural disasters of 20 years ago, which is where this story will take place, everything had changed. The remaining dinosaurs would practically not exist from that last period, as they were trapped off by the tsunami. All they could do was look at the world that could be theirs, the world that they could have. Could they even survive? They had no nest, so there was no way to breed. But soon, with the Ice Age coming, some of the water froze. Some of the water had frozen. They had access to a hatchery, but the ice was still great for them. Of course, now they could walk over, but the ground was still a little bit wet, leading them to persuade not to. But soon the Stegosaurus had began to explore. Tracy and Stacy's old legacies would die down under layers of snow and ice and rock, as a new environment would form in their actions. They might now they might not survive any longer, as in the last 20 years, the area the remaining Triceratops had lived in looked like this. Now it looks like this. It turns into more of a basalt delta. Layers and layers of rocks, covering up the ecosystem below. But this allowed for elaborate holes in the ground to collect rainwater. This could mean, though, the dinosaurs inside the basalt delta could survive unless it all froze up. So that's, yeah. And we can check up on our Triceratops who are doing pretty decent, including, which one, where's Tracy? 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 Shoot, where's Tracy? Oh, Tracy might be dead. Hello, Tracy. Pause. Pause, 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 pause. Where is Tracy? No, Tracy the Triceratops. I know you were in here. Come on, Tracy. Oh, darn it. I think Tracy might have actually died. Oh, Tracy! And Tracy lives on with her herd. Her herd may not be very happy down there. The conditions aren't great at all. But that's one thing they have to accept. The life down there is the best life they're gonna get. They may not have very much water. They don't have any wetlands. They may not have much food. And they may not have much cover. But it's enough to survive. But suddenly, outside, the climate was frozen. Plants began to sprout up inside the basalt delta. Some trees did too. And suddenly, life down there wasn't as horrible. Life down there was livable. Sure, it wasn't to the best of their hopes, but it worked. Meanwhile, over where the Stegosaurus were, they were in a little bit more of a cramped, tight area. It was filled with water, and no plants were in sight. This might just mean they would die out. Any last bits of land that they might even be able to find were probably gone. They're able to last off the lily pads for now. Stacy was not comfortable without food. Yes, the lily pads were abundant down there, but once they ran out of lily pads, they would all die. No one would survive, so their juveniles began to carry on their legacy. When soon another earthquake had happened. This earthquake heightened the ground. And it spread massively across the desert. Could anything stop this? Massive mountains had sprout up, cutting off some of the food supplies and water supplies from the dinosaurs there. Some of the dinosaurs were just plain cut off, and this very much ruptured the food in the ecosystem. As the mountains that it rose were so high that climbing it would have been deemed impossible. If you had tried to scale the mountain, you would be seen as insane. No one could climb the mountain. The mountain was life, and life was the mountain. If any creature had gotten stuck behind me, that was it. Most. But the dinosaurs seemed to get along, but they actually hadn't discovered each other yet. The Stegosaurus were just happy that they had met. Finally, their legacy could go on. Or can it? Some new dinosaur had decided to move on. Meanwhile, in the desert, the Acrocanthosaurus species would begin to starve. Because for some gosh darn reason, hunting doesn't exist. Don't know what always happens, but for some reason, none of the dinosaurs just go, oh, maybe I should hunt, and instead go off and starve themselves to death because they don't know how to hunt. Like, what? Literally nothing. There's, like, how? Initiate fine combat frequency. Can't put it on high, apparently. There's no high. but of course, dinosaurs can't hunt. That's stupid. What? Like, hello? That makes no sense. It's the most idiotic thing ever. But if I have to, I'll put a giant slab of meat in front of their face. Oh yeah, let me remind you, I've released these Acrocanthosaurus literally 12 seconds ago. Somehow they've already all died. Somehow. Their entire species is boo-hoo extinct. Alright, see, that's just stupid, Frontier. What are we doing? I mean, come on. What is our problem, Frontier? Feel like we should actually do stuff. Not just sit there and be like, oh, dumb logic. No hunts. That makes sense. Come on, for some reason the Dilophosaurus do more hunting on the Edmontosaurus than an Acrocanthosaurus can do to one single Stegosaurus. Come on! The Edmontosaurus could kill 2 of those Dilophosaurus during the hunt, and somehow the Acrocanthosaurus can't even touch an Ankylosaurus. That makes no sense, Frontier. Fix your game. Like, look, the Eutyrannus are doing great. I mean, come on. I did also put in Lucky Ceratops too, so they could actually fight off some of the predators. Very soon, though, the climate got a little bit hotter. Just enough to where the ice would melt. At first, all of the dinosaurs are like, this is great, that's amazing, the ice is all melting. We have food again. Most of the snow is gone. There's still a little bit of it that's there. Very quickly, plant life would begin to sprout back up across the jungle. And the jungle became kind of a jungle again. It was finally back to where it was and how it was. And soon the Eutyrannus wouldn't like this very much, as the Eutyrannus species as a whole began to get poisoned by the Dilophosaurus and die. The Eutyrannus now, without the snow, were overheating. They'd have to migrate to a colder area. But it also got hotter then. And suddenly a little bit of water began to dry up. And then a little bit more. And what's going on here, guys? Like, huh? This doesn't make too much sense. Suddenly, a massive earthquake would rise the levels of the ocean up. Massive water sources would completely go down. And the desert, yeah, connected up. It's all one massive supercontinent. This is Pangaea. Pangaea, yeah, Pangaea. With the climate drying up like this, the dinosaurs began to sense something was wrong. Something was very wrong. Suddenly, massive areas of land would be all connected up. There may or may not have been a few islands left still, but very soon they'd be connected up to the mainland. No matter if it was just barely, kind of, literally, or whatever. Water was dying out fast. The dinosaurs, the dinosaurs would have to find a way to fix this, or they would all die without water. Because with all of the water just draining out, The massive supercontinent engulfed a lot of the water. It even reached my secret hatchery area. The Earth was now connected. It may be some random connections, but it was all connected. Instead of oceans, there were lakes and seas. Fake seas. The Caspian Lake. Caspian Lake, yeah, I know. It's always the Caspian Sea, blah, blah, blah. It's a lake. Learn your facts, people. It's a lake. Biggest lake, if I'm correct. Why? What? How was it? What? Okay, I need to put a ginormous slab of meat in front of your face for you to eat. If I have to do that, I'm just gonna kill your entire species off at this point. I mean, this is so annoying. Oh, your species is extinct, except for the population I have down here. Oh, wait. This population's also extinct because those are all Vertosaurus. Okay. But there's only one of them. Very, very soon, something would happen. And no, I'm not placing every single individual lantern. I am not doing that. I'm going to put out in, oh my god, invisible gates to surround areas that have water, and then I'm gonna, to surround areas that have lava, and then get rid of everything in there. Would this be the complete end to this world? As lava would pour out of the volcano, seeping through the lands. It would burn a massive part of the ecosystem. Some dinosaurs might be able to escape it, as lava would seep across the land. Water would be quickly evaporated and turned into obsidian lake piles. Everything would die. Everything would die. And if we're not careful, we can be next. Thank you for enjoying my amazing Dr. Ian Malcolm impression. Get rid of all the water. Very soon, dinosaurs might go extinct, as vast plains of lava would stretch out across the desert. The desert might go extinct. The mountains were the only thing protecting the insiders of the desert from their certain doom. Anything outside of the mountains would shrivel up and die. But with the new connections, lava would heap in, destroying everything they had once loved. It would burn up before the lava even got there. With the lava's constant flow, everything, every creature would just die. A bunch of the Dilophosaurus would die. It's horrible. It's horrible for the dinosaurs. At this rate, nothing will survive long. If any of the Dilophosaurus had been in the water at this time, they just might lead their species to survival. Their species could just be led to survival. No way these aren't instantly getting built. Wait. What? Oh my god, why is the... Is it not instinct? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. instant construction slash deconstruction. On. On. I am so confused. Task time 1%, yeah. Something weird's going on here. I am, like, confused right now. But as lava will begin to heap into the land. Oh my god! Dinosaurs. I don't want to kill them fully, but I want to kill them. You know what? There we go. That works for Boo Booey. As a lot of the females actually get trapped in there. I am not seeing any juveniles, which isn't too super bad. But very soon, all of the water would die in a big area. Waters and oceans would heat up. Very soon, everything would die. If the lava would reach the very outside of the mountains and begin to heap inward. The stegosaurs would have to be careful, or they would be next to die. Some of the Dilophosaurus would have to be forced to retreat inward. If they didn't, they would be trapped like their parents in an endless wasteland, only to starve. Meanwhile, lava would begin to heap inside. An Ankylosaurus had wandered outside of their main area, and very soon lava would begin to pour in. Very soon it would die as lava would begin pouring inwards. It would have to hurry. It would have to run quick as lava would seep in, destroying its land. Its only chance of survival was to get into the water. As very soon the lava itself would begin to close in. The lava was right behind it as it walked into the water. It might just be safe now. But one thing is for sure. It might never live a life again. Only because it chose to wander outside the boundaries of the mountains that just might keep their species alive. Because out here there was no food. The only thing they could go off of was the lily pads. That was it. Nothing else, nothing more. Just a small body of water with no food to survive. Or so it would be thought. Some food would survive in a small area. But would it be able to eat from? We don't know yet. Very soon, the volcano's eruption would cause massive heaps of water to come pouring back in, cutting off a lot of the Stegosaurus, or one of them at least. Stegosaurus, seven. Oh, seven. Yeah, some of the Stegosaurus from the herd. But the water could also save them. Water would heap inwards. Would it cut them off from the lava? It seems that it could. But there was almost too much water poured in, leaking into the remaining area. guys. And the massive flooding would be horrible for all the species. They gathered on small bits of snow, trying to survive the world without food. The volcano would destroy everything for them. Very soon, though, an earthquake would also hit. The earthquake would lower the mountain. It would completely destroy the landscape. Lava would heap on through into the area. Very, very soon, lava would heap inwards from the mountain, soaring down, devouring any creature in its pathway, leaving many to die. Not like they would all survive anyways, as without food, survival was a long shot. The dinosaur species would probably be extinct, like it is in real life now. But the dinosaur species would try. As a few just might survive the lava landscape as the lava came in. And since there was all water there, it dried up a lot of the water and turned that into land, which had then allowed plants to grow because all of the lava had turned into obsidian. They just might not die. As a patch of grass formed, multiple. Some trees would sprout up from ashes and bones. Creatures would soon be able to survive once more. They'd be able to eat. They'd be able to live. But this earthquake wasn't limited to there, as the earthquake would spread across the world. This earthquake was massive, absolutely massive, as it soon poured down into the earth, causing a massive chasm to open up, which would reveal a massive lava chamber that had been running below the continent for years. And it turned out one of the hills, or mountains more, on the island was actually a massive volcano. And it was active. And soon the lava chasm would begin to fill up, as it filled up to the top, then engulfing the areas around it. And very, very, very soon, it would all begin to die. Everything that was in that area was gone, wiped off the earth. If you were a creature and got stuck in the chasm, you wouldn't survive. There was no way out. Unless you were Michael Jackson, because then you can just, of course, moonwalk up. Because you're Michael Jackson. So why not? I am Michael Jackson. And yeah, you can fly if you're Michael Jackson. So yeah, if you're Michael Jackson, then you'd actually just survive this. You can just fly up. Or cover. Yeah. So that's that there. So lava would begin to engulf the area. Very soon, creatures would have to escape it, as the first creatures would get trapped inside of the lava wasteland. Dracorexes, to be specific. Their entire species had just lost half. One of the Dracorexes had a chance to escape, as lava would begin to pour out, but it didn't escape fast enough. And very soon the lava would dry up the environment and the climate around. And the lava would burn up the environment. There would be nothing to survive anymore. Not in that landscape. As all of the water too would dry up. Everything was gone. And also, this takes place millions of years ago. If you happened millions of years ago, you'll know what is about to happen. As the dinosaurs had grazed on some, a massive bang was heard across the globe. And also, if that was a little bit choppy for you guys, don't know what's happening. When my game should have paused, the video paused. So what I said is the dinosaurs just gently like eating some grass, and then a massive bang is heard across the globe. The second volcano had erupted, and lava was seeping out everywhere. Then a second bang, then a third. In the middle of the ocean, an asteroid so huge it left a crater that not even the water could fill. Crashed into the planet. The planet was launched instantly into an age of death. All of the plant life had withered away. Nothing was to survive. Some dinosaurs died in fights. Others would go on to starve. The last remaining grass on the planet was fought over. Small chunks of the meteor also crashed into the planet, and soon everything would burn. But there was one specific group of dinosaurs, two actually, that were saved from this. The ones inside of the basalt delta. Sure, there was a bunch of global warming inside the cave. But they looked up. They saw the sky was darkened, darker than normal, as asteroids would crash into the planet. But luckily, they still all had water and food. They could still survive. Though maybe not for long, because of old age, but they could. Meanwhile, the remaining Triceratops. The remaining ones were a little complicated, but they could survive alone. They had small little bits of water inside their enclosure, or inside of the basalt delta. I'm so confused. Guys, my hands are off the keyboard. And if you guys remember, there was also Another treasure. Sorry, I had to use the bathroom. Okay. Anyway, we were. And also remember, weren't there some other Triceratops down? Darn it. Yes, like it had one. Am I standing in the wall? Oh, yeah. Okay, I am standing. And they had plants. Most of them all only had plants. Wasn't very much for them. As the rest of the world died. Many starving or killed or poisoned. What was left was scarce. And dinosaurs let out into a world of the unbeknown. That's when it happened. The war that was always meant to happen. The war that I prepared for. Between Stacy and Tracy. Land bridge should cross the rocks filled up from the ground, allowing them to move. This meant that all of a sudden they could finally interact. After all of this time of just pure being alone, when they were always destined, they were always meant to fight from the beginning. They could, but they would be exposed to the elements. And that was not a good thing. Not at all. Oh wait, they're actually a little bit cut off. Demolish them. So this guy says something's bothering the animals. I wonder what. Maybe the two enormous volcanoes and asteroids that just crashed into the planet. I don't know, just a suggestion, but I think maybe that could be the thing. Maybe that would be the. It's probably not the reason, but just maybe, maybe it's that. Yeah, just a slight gut feeling. Because all of the dinosaurs now can meet up. Demolish them all. Demolish the items. Unite the Triceratopsians. Even though they might genuinely just not be able to get up at all. This is so annoying. Oh, there we go. Looks like we're doing a minute. I think that might have been Stacy and all the Triceratops. Or they can now escape into the mainland. Pause, 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 pause. No, 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 no. Pause, 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 pause. Nope. The war between Ceratopsians and the war between Stegosaurids could finally happen as the Ceratopsian army, led by none other than Tracy, would begin to move across and lead their army to defeat the Stegosaurus, who, as always, need a little bit of motivation to move. So, for some motivation, we'll give them land to walk on. And very soon, they would be able to cross over as Triceratops 10 has the Stegosaurus in sight, and Stegosaurus began walking towards them. Very soon, they would come in contact. The Stegosaurus all began to cross over, led by none other than Stacy. Her remaining 3 Stegosaurs were just there. They would lose the war. It was clear as day, when all of a sudden, bang, a meteor crashes in, releasing them all onto the main world. And finally, Stegosaurids could see how their civilization survived, how their children are doing now, in the ashes of this old fallen world, as everything would die. Everything would die. Many species would go extinct this day. As the Ankylosaurus were all losers. They had one last chance for this world. They had one last chance to move on, and they had one last chance to survive. They had one chance to carry on their legacy. Just could they do it? Just could they do it? Meanwhile, on the mainland, though, there was a war between the Stegosaurids and the Ankylosaurs. But very soon, the war would get much more difficult. Both sides might just have to unite to face a greater threat that would come into this world very, very, very soon. But for now, the world looks like everyone will go extinct. The Dilophosaur species take heavy hits, many of them with injuries, broken claw, internal bleeding, concussion, poisoning. Could anything survive? Well, their one last chance was to migrate over to the basalt delta. But if they left the basalt delta, they might not live any longer. This could be a chance for the dinosaurs to finally survive. Oh. The war is marked. Territory is guarded. Fierce standoffs. The Triceratops walks forward. This is seen as a threat. Stegosaurus 9 and Stacy are fighting. It seems as if Stacy just doesn't have it in her. She can't fight off her own herd, and she officially loses. She is no longer the queen. The Triceratops and the Stegosaurus just fought. But now the story kind of ends here. The story of life, death, the story of the dinosaur, the story of prehistoric life, the story of evolution, the story of extinction, the story of war, the story of climate change, the story of limited resources, and survival of the fittest. As a few of the Triceratops would wander out, along with Tracy, who seemed to have just been fighting, as they discovered a Dilophosaurus. But they should not go out any further, because those Triceratops do. They'd be the only warriors that could fight it. As rocks would bury in soon, cutting off any single dinosaur that had left. But there was a problem. Did Stacy leave? Was Stacy still there? Or Tracy? Luckily, Tracy was. She decided not to head out, so their world would be safe and promised with blessing. As the Stegosaurus and Stacy would now meet up with their great-great-grandchildren. Their great-grandchildren. And the thing is, every single one of these Stegosaurids came from Stacy. They might as well actually be great-great-great grandparents. So many offspring Stacy had. Every single Stegosaurus here, except for her original three with and kind of like Ron. Ron had led everyone this far. Ron is a daughter of Stacy and the heritage of Stacy. Stacy and Stegosaurus lived the legacy on. The Stegosaurus army would leave behind the beautiful land that they had once just called home. And very soon, they would have lost. They would have lost to Tracy. Tracy would have finally gotten a win against Stacy, who was, if you remember the backstory, Tracy's bully back in elementary, and they became like absolute rivals. Very soon, all of Stacy and her Stegosaurus were boxed in yet again. This was not good at all. Or maybe it was. In a way, if all of her and her Triceratops had survived in here for just so long, for years, decades, who knows how long they could survive for just now. They have even more room, even more food, even more water, and they are all united under Tracy. His leadership still remains in place. Meanwhile, Tracy is now not even a significant figure of her colony, of her army. As Tracy will leave the battleground success. Tracy will leave the battleground happy. She has won. She won it all. She defeated her rival, her enemy, the one person she hated. She has defeated. And now, as the world begins to die outside, she might be the only creatures that can survive. Now that Tracy or Stacy left everyone, left the safety of the basalt deltas, They were all owned by Stacy, or Tracy. And so they could use this to their advantage. They have it so good. As some of the Stegosaurids walk up to the wall and wish. Only if we hadn't, only if our old leader hadn't made the decision to leave. Only if Tracy, or only if Stacy had decided not to leave, not to give up, not to give up on every single other Stegosaurid. Just if Stacy didn't do that, Stacy wouldn't be on her own in a new army, all alone, with her group of followers. But the decision to leave put her out of power. The army is now in charge by someone else. Someone else has taken Stacy's way and her leadership. And now Stacy, being out of power, she has no control over the actions of her group. Maybe one day though, all of the Triceratops that had wandered out might survive if they had just never left the safety, the safety of their home, of their tavern, of their beautiful, amazing place. They'd all be happier. But now, all that it is lost there. They lost their home, they lost their families. They now have to start from new. They can no longer walk back home. They're now, they now have to do something else. They can't do what they wanted. They can't be with the ones that they love. Because they have decided to leave. They had decided to leave the great thing they had. They had taken it for granted. And they regret every moment that they had ever decided to leave it. They had regretted leaving everything. But by the time they had seen true regret, it was too late. There was no turning back. There was no second chances. There was no, you can come back in. The boulders had shut the entire place down. The rock covering it all up, like a piece of history. But generations later, Tracy might be remembered and talked to by the people, by the Ceratopsians out there. Besides, they have the lucky Ceratops, right? It's just like it. The moral of the story is, don't take anything for granted. Because the moment you turn back thinking you don't need it anymore, it's too late. If you take something for granted, you'll regret doing that later. You'll regret it. Something will come up where you wish you just hadn't taken it for granted. You hadn't destroyed its purpose, ruined it. is also a story to teach you that you never know how good something is until it's a memory. You never know how good a moment is until it's a memory. So enjoy your life to the fullest. Enjoy your life to the greatest it's ever been. Enjoy your time on Earth. Because one day you're gonna look back and be like, wow, I wish I would have done that differently. I wish I would have decided to do that instead of doing this. One day you're gonna look back. So do the things you want to do while you still can. This is your one chance to do it. So take it. Take the chance. Okay, anyway guys, yeah, that's the end. I hope you took the lesson of the story there, because that was kind of the whole point of this. Also, another lesson here. Please, just no bully. Okay, guys, do not bully people. Karma is gonna get you someday. Karma is gonna get you. Yeah. Just like Stacy used to bully Tracy, now Stacy has been kicked out into the horrible landscape of this place, which is called Earth. And I guess another thing too, take chances, even if the odds aren't too great, and could end up horrible. Sometimes in life, in order for life to be fun, you have to take the risk. You have to take that tiny risk. It just makes life more enjoyable. If you live your life without taking any risks, any chances, you'll have no great memories. You'll have no great moments. So yeah, actually. Okay, anyway guys, make sure to join the Nerd Army and subscribe to Carter the Man 92, Mason's Globe Channel, and more, and Razor Rides. Yeah, that's it. Bye. Yeah, also make sure to check out the the post section, just in case we want a part 3 of this, because I do want to do it. I'm probably gonna film the video first, and then what I'm gonna do is, if you guys want the part 3, I'll post it. If you don't, I won't. Okay, yeah. Bye.